Hi everybody, Fara Gibson, psychic medium here, and I wanted to get on here to give you a little perspective behind the scenes of heaven's view of pets. Our pets are so very important to us. They are like family, or they are family. I want to say that. I mean, at least mine are. And my husband always jokingly says, I want to come back as one of our dogs once, and I have to actually stand on 2 feet with honesty and say, well, that's not possible. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our pets and how amazing they are in our journey. So whether you have horses, cats, dogs, and insert the blank here for any kind of species that I haven't mentioned, right? Because there's so many types of pets that we have. Know that they're all so amazingly important to our journey. They are the purest form of love that comes into this world to bless us with that unconditional love that they bring into our journeys. They're really, kind of helping us to carry on our journey and to keep us on track. And they're amazing for that. Just like you and I, like my body is my car, your body is your car, my spirit is the driver within my car, your spirit is the driver within your car. Pets have a spirit inside their little body or their big body, or that body is like the car for them as well. And their spirits that are within those bodies also existed in heaven long before they ever came to live this life, just like you and I did. And they also wrote a soul plan on that journey that they were going to take here on earth, and they wrote you to share their soul plan with. How amazing are you? And of course, then we kind of go, like, our human minds kind of filter to like, wait, what about the ones that have been neglected or abused? And everybody's given the most perfect opportunity with a pet, no matter what kind of pet it is. And earthly choices for how we love and take care of our pets are definitely something that we should take into account with high ethics, because they are the most pure form of pure love that was sent here by heaven. And, pets do right to go through different journeys in life as well, because they only live one life. And so there are pets that will write to be the biggest lesson of love and growth for somebody and give that opportunity for them to do better. And if they choose not to, that's going to be a choice on the person to enjoy that life review when they get back to heaven, because neglecting or abusing one of the most purest forms of love is probably not something that I recommend in this world. But pets are willing to give us that opportunity to do the great things. And when we choose not to, please know that those pets do return to heaven in pure perfection, without the injuries, without the neglect, without any of the abuse, and they turn into pure form of love when they get back to heaven. But I will say that there's so many amazing parts of pets when they're in your home, right? Like maybe you notice that your dog or cat is like seeing something or reacting to something that you can't see. Pets are aware of spirit around always. There's actually never a time that they're not. They don't know any different. Plus, they're not going to tattle on spirit and tell us, hey, like so-and-so is in the room. And they, and so I think that they're like, our human filters kind of filter that out more. But the pet filters don't filter it out, or don't have a need to filter it out, because like I said, like they can't tell you the things. So, but if you see your pet reacting or barking at something stupid, I say yell at your loved ones instead of your pets, because usually they're probably trying to mess with them and get them going, and just let them know that they're there, let you know that they're there through your pet, through the reaction of your pet. You might see your pet staring off at something and it doesn't make sense, like there's nothing there, like what the heck. So please know that those truly are spirit encounters with your pet, and your pet's reacting and like letting you know, like, hey, grandma's here, or mom's here, or your son's here and he's totally messing with me and teasing me and I'm gonna bark at him. And or maybe you see them just kind of like staring and not moving. That is definitely typically, and I don't mean like in a health way. I know that there can be some health conditions where pets, but I do mean like just in a reactive way of like them stopping and staring at something. Know that they are absolutely seeing and sensing your loved ones around and trying to let you know that. And I think that's pretty cool. So pets do see and sense spirits. Pets do live all different type of lives as well. Like maybe they have illness, and they're educating veterinarians on their journey, for future pets, so that veterinarians can learn different things about that illness and help others in their shoes later. There's so many different ways that we as humans bless the journey of others, and pets work for that same blessing in this earthly world that we live in. We're constantly changing, we're constantly evolving. And so, even the ones that go through abuse and neglect, some of those dogs and cats and horses, etc., are really working on, inspiring this world for change, inspiring this world for better laws. And how amazing are they for living that life to inspire that change in this world that we have opportunities for. It's really our job to really recognize the need for that change and work towards it, because the pets don't have a voice, but we have a voice for them. So I love all of you that are standing up for pets and working to help get better opportunities for them. That is absolutely amazing. And then there's decisions that we have to make for a pet sometimes. And I will tell you, I just had to make the most difficult decision for one of my French bulldogs just a few months ago. And it was the hardest thing that I have ever had to make a decision for in my life, because her back was so injured that surgery was not going to help. And I couldn't ask her to stay in this world with the pain that she was in. And she was very still conscious in mind. She was only 6 years old, and her name's Lily. And she is the most amazing thing that ever came into my husband and my life, because she was like the first dog we ever birthed together. We had other dogs. They were rescues that we kind of like had handed to us, and we embraced them with love. But Lily was like the first one that we literally got as like this big, and we raised her from this tiny little puppy. And I mean, she literally like nursed my husband when he had his shoulder surgery, and then a few months later my husband had open heart surgery, and Lily like laid on his lap through his entire recovery process for both his shoulder and open heart surgery. And she was in the physical sense one of the most amazing, loving, like sassy bees you ever met in your life. You couldn't do anything without her, which you didn't want to anyway, but man, she would tell you if she didn't want to do something, or she wouldn't listen to you, she'd give you side eye, all those things that we love about our pets, right? But it came so suddenly that we had to make this decision, and I was broken. I mean, I remember my husband coming up to me just bawling and going, why you're so beautiful. Like, why would you have to go through something like this? And I'm like, Lily wrote this for us, and we have to embrace this and make the best decisions for her. She's asking us to, we had to love Lily enough to say that we couldn't ask her to stay like that. And the reason that we had to make that decision is because Lily wrote us to make it. In her blueprint, long before she came here, she said, I'm going to come live this life with you. I'm going to be this sassy bee. I'm going to be the most amazing thing. I'm going to be present for you guys. I'm going to be your road dog. We're going to go off-roading together. We're going to go boating together. We're going to go do everything together. You're going to take me to every restaurant. And we did. I mean, we took that dog everywhere with us. And then, she said, but on my graduation day, I'm going to include you. And so what Lily did is she wrote us to be a part of her graduation day. If you've had to make a decision for your pet, to put them down, it is the most difficult decision that we have to make because we love them so much. Maybe you made sure to be present for your pet when they were put down, and you were right there holding them, and you were holding them in that moment because they wrote for you to hold them in your arms as they graduated to heaven. Or maybe it was too hard for you to be present in that moment, and you couldn't be in the room as you watched them take their final breath. Sometimes it's too overwhelming for a pet owner to stay in the presence. I've always chosen to stay in with my pets, but not everybody can make that decision. And know that if you were inspired not to be in that space in that moment, it's okay, because your pet would have written for you to remember them for how they lived and not for how they took their final breath. There's nothing that we can do to be bigger than their blueprint. And so when we make those decisions, we're really honoring their blueprint. In a moment that we have a push to really like do this. And the reason that we have that push is because their blueprint is saying, you know what, this beautiful pet that you have has reached its soul's growth, and it's time for you to make the most loving decision you've ever made. And our pets come to bless us with love and growth. And I can tell you that when you have to make that decision for your pet, you have grown with more love and strength than you ever knew you could carry by loving somebody so much that you're putting your love for them first. And that's how they see it. So please know that your pet does not ever feel like you took their life. You should never feel responsible for that. And then let's talk about, accidents with pets, things that happen, whether they fell in the pool, maybe they were hit by a car, or a coyote jumped over the fence and took your pet. There's so many different scenarios, guys, so I can't cover them all. So I want to talk about those passings too, because those passings on the human sense are trauma. They are so much trauma. No matter which one of those that I just mentioned, it's terrible, right? But again, I want to talk about your pet who wrote to be in this world and who wrote all of these moments that they were going to share with you. And then when they wrote their graduation day, the ones that passed in the trauma, they weren't a boring pet in life. They were not going to take a boring exit to heaven. So please know that those moments are nothing that you could have changed, because you're not bigger than their blueprint. You're not bigger than the moment that they wrote to graduate to heaven. They wanted one of those sit the heck down, guess how I got to heaven stories when they got there. So as much as it's trauma on the human level, I want you to know that the millisecond that they get out of their body, they're like, woo, what a ride. And they're like, holy crap, wait till you hear how I got back here. And that really is how heaven is so much lighter than we are here in the earthly sense. And I just kind of wanted to put some of that into perspective, because I know that I've even, and then I was just going to say, I've done readings where pets have come through. Do pets come through during readings? Yes, absolutely. Pets have communication. Soul communication is soul communication is soul communication. They have communication just like your human loved ones would in heaven. In fact, they have soul communication in life as well. So if you've kind of sat around and pretended what your pet would be saying to you because you're feel like they're thinking to you, you are hearing your pet. It is that simple. Your thoughts are your voice of your soul speaking, and your pets speak in their soul's voice their whole life outside of their bark or their meow or their neigh or their whatever, right? But just like you and I have a soul's voice that's speaking on a constant basis as well. And so know that your pets can absolutely come through during a reading. I have done numerous readings where pets have come through with very specific validations to say, how they passed, who was there, and how much they appreciate and embrace. But I will challenge them to give me specifics, just like I will, with any other loved one. Like, were you cremated? Were you buried? Okay, if you were cremated, where are your ashes at? Maybe I'll say, oh, their ashes, there's 3 sets of dog ashes sitting over on the fireplace together. Or, because I want them to give me those things to validate, like, that they love you, they're with you, they see you. So yes, pets can come through during a reading. Is every medium a pet medium? I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I'm not sure if other mediums, all have the same connection. I just know that I kind of have this amazing all access pass to heaven, which I love. And I couldn't imagine not speaking with pets, but know that they will come through and tell the most vibrant parts of their lives and how amazing you are. And they're always a part of your team. Your pets are eternally a part of your team, because they were going to live one life and they chose you to live it with. So just know that the reason for that is because they're forever yours. Now there's the pets that live with the people that neglected and everything else. But the truth of it is, like, people who are terrible in the human sense on different levels of terrible, like somebody who neglects a pet, they've signed up to be the villain in life, at some level. And so how are we going to live through life if nobody signs up to be the villain? Unfortunately, on the human sense, screw them. But at the same time, if they're living their life purpose and they're meant to be the villain, they're also living the hard karmic energy during that lifetime of being that villain. They may end up in jail. They may have other struggles, that just constantly keep coming at them because they're living that villain life. And they've been the one who said, I'll go ahead and be the bad guy in life, because I'm willing to go give people growth. So it's really kind of tricky to help to understand all of this in a moment, but I want you to understand that when a villain is done fulfilling their villain role in life, as they return to heaven, they return to their perfect form. They go, whew, that wasn't easy, and oh my gosh, I pulled it off, but oh, that was a lot. And then they get to go in a life review, and they get to see all the things that they did as the villain, and they get to rewatch those moments from the eyes of everyone they ever touched. Know that they will also go through those moments that they gave to those pets that they neglected or abused. Now, when it comes to fulfilling your life role, and if you signed up to be the villain, some of those moments were meant to be because those pets were educating others, like I said, to help change laws and to, help educate doctors, and all of those things can only be done if, difficult things happen in life. So for everything that happens in this world, just know that there's a plan, and it will all make sense someday. But your pets are loving you through every moment. They are absolutely a part of your team. I always say, what kind of heaven is heaven if we don't get a return with our pets? And I can tell you right now, we absolutely do. There is no separation in heaven from us and our pets. And you will absolutely be reunited with them. Not only will you be reunited with them, but they're able to see and hear you and watch over you now and always. If they have passed already to heaven, if you have a pet that is in a difficult situation with health right now, and you're really, really struggling, feeling like you don't want to have to make this decision, you do what's best in your heart. And you'll know when the time is right if you do need to make that decision. For Lily, I couldn't ask her to stay like that. She was in so much pain, and it literally was so quick that it happened, and I couldn't ask her to stay. And it was traumatic. When she passed, I couldn't pick my face up off the bed for weeks, just crying and crying. My husband and I still had to do readings every day and act like nothing happened, and, still function and keep going. And I felt like I lost a kid. It was just so hard because she really was our child in every sense of the form. Oh my gosh, I jokingly tell my kids, I like my dogs better than you because they don't talk back. But the truth is they do talk back, and I just don't mind because they're dogs. And we treat our dogs like family. We still have 2 pups in the home, and I have quite a few animals in heaven, dogs in heaven, and I've always kind of been a dog person. But your cats are in heaven. I've had cats come through during readings. I've had horses come through during readings. I'll never connect with a hamster again because I learned my lesson once with that. There's a funny story behind that. Not that I can't connect with them. I just, as I started connecting with this hamster, I was like, oh, how did you pass? And then all of a sudden I felt like my eye fell out, and I was like, oh my gosh, did the hamster's eye fall out? And the lady was like, oh my God, I woke up the next day and it's like I was bulging out in the cage. And I was like, oh my God. So, that's why I jokingly say okay, no more hamsters, because it just felt weird. But the hamster was able to give me a specific about its passing that I wouldn't have known. And that was really my job, to really give faith to that lady that the hamster actually was in heaven with her daughter who passed, which was where it became important. Her daughter was handicapped. She was blind, disabled. She was in a wheelchair. She could have movement of her hands. She was deaf and blind and no mobility. And she only had feel of her hands, and she was nonverbal, and she used to love to hold this hamster in life. And so when I was bringing this little girl through for her mom, then I thought, well, how cool would it be to see how the hamster passed, and because as I brought up the hamster, the mom was very emotional. It was like, oh my gosh, my daughter couldn't see or hear or speak, or she had no mobility, but she loved to hold this hamster, and she was so gentle with it. And so it was devastating for mom when this hamster passed, but I was like, wait, what happened to the hamster? I was curiosity, and I don't tell the mom that I'm asking the hamster, what happened to you, but mom can't hear me saying that. And I was like, oh my God, did the hamster have an eye issue? Did the eye fall out? And I was trying to hold my composure because I had never felt anything like this before. And she's like, oh my God, that's exactly how. And then they had to replace the hamster and, not let their daughter know. And so anyways, it was quite the story. But so yes, pets come through all the way down to hamsters. I've had a ferret come through in a reading, multiple dogs, multiple cats. I've had people schedule readings just to talk to their dogs or cats or horses that have passed. Like I said, soul communication is soul communication is soul communication. But But the number one message that I want to give you guys today is that your pets are absolutely here for an amazing purpose, and that is to give you a chance at unconditional love.